What's going on, guys? I'm here at the Bole airport in Addis Ababa, about to head out. As you can see, it's become a very familiar place in my life. I spend a lot of time here now. But before I leave here, I wanted to do something that I don't usually do, I haven't done before, is a pros and cons of traveling to Ethiopia. So I'm gonna give you guys a few pros and a few cons. Let me get a seat and let's get started. Alrighty, so 3 pros and cons as I promised. Let's start with the pros, the good things. It's always nice to start with the good. So, pro number 1. The weather in Addis Ababa or in Ethiopia is amazing. Comparatively to other African countries, Ethiopia doesn't get too hot. It's actually, you can almost call it like the perfect weather. It's never too hot, never too cold. Now, there is a rainy season between the months of like July, August to October, which you might want to avoid because it's very tough to get around and do things due to the rain. But even during the rainy season, the rain usually ends up stopping. It's not like all day rain. So yeah, the weather here is just, compared to like most countries that I've been to, it is like the perfect weather. You can't ask for better. It's like, gets a little bit chilly at night, so if you have a jacket or a little overthrow, you might want to pack that. But as far as like during the days, perfect weather. You can wear a t-shirt, you'll be more than comfortable. So pro number 1, the weather is definitely a plus here in Ethiopia. Pro number 2, Ethiopia, and especially Addis Ababa, is relatively safer of a city than other cities in Africa. You know, usually you can walk around the city without having to worry about getting hurt or hit, or even worse. There's not as much like attacks or things like this that happen in other African countries. Not saying that it's the safest. I'm sure there are other nations that I haven't visited yet that are safer. But as far as safety, Addis Ababa is pretty good if you compare it to other African cities. Now, this time around, I did run into an issue, which is a common issue here. I did get my phone stolen. It was pickpocketed. I had no idea it was taken from my pocket. And next thing you know, I looked down and my phone was gone. But, you know, relatively, that's still a harmless crime. You know, I didn't get hurt. I was safe. I was okay. I just lost my phone, which sucks, but, you know, still, in the grand scheme of things, it's not too bad. So, yeah, pro would definitely be that I would say Addis Ababa, specifically in Ethiopia, is a pretty safe city for now. Let's hope it stays that way. Pro number 3, and I think the most important pro, which is why I saved it for the last one. The culture, food, and people of Ethiopia are super unique. There is nothing in the Ethiopian culture that is similar to any other culture or taken from any other culture. Everything within the Ethiopian culture is very, very original. I mean, from the food, to the traditional clothes, to the language, to the way the people are, and overall, just everything. It's so unique. The food is amazing. I love it. You know, it's something that you have to like try and see if you'll like it. But me personally, I loved it. I still, every time I come to Addis or Ethiopia, I really, really look forward to eating the food. It's amazing. And if you watch some of my previous videos, you can see which foods I really love. But yeah, I would definitely say a pro in Ethiopia is that the people, the culture, the food are super unique compared to any other African nation. It's a very, very historical old culture, one of the original cultures in humanity. So when you come here, you really do feel like you're in a different world. And the people are amazing. The Ethiopian people are really, really good people. So if you're gonna visit, I would definitely say get involved and get into the culture. Try the foods. Don't just come here and, you know, live like you're back in your country. Really, really get involved into the culture, and you'll absolutely love it. All right, so now for the cons, the negatives. So this one's the most relevant at the moment. I'm basically spending the last money I have here because the one con in Ethiopia is that the currency is kind of useless once you're ready to leave. So I mean, if you exchange money and you're left over with however much birr, which is the Ethiopian currency, it's pretty much useless once you leave the country. You can't really exchange it for dollars once you exchange it into Ethiopian birr. So basically at the airport, I'm just buying a bunch of samosa and water and other things just to kind of spend whatever I have left, because like I said, once I leave here, it's useless. So that is one of the negatives, because sometimes what happens is you exchange money, but you end up not using all of it, and you're not able to actually transfer it back to your home currency. So that would definitely be one big con that's here, and I just figured I'd do that first because it's probably the most relevant. And samosa are pretty good though. Alright, so con number 2. Another negative thing that actually, this thing probably affected me more than any other negative that I'm gonna mention today, is the Wi-Fi in Ethiopia is very, very tough to deal with. I mean, it's very slow. I have been to the nicest hotels, I've been to the worst hotels, I have been to places where people tell me, go here, the Wi-Fi is gonna be good. And if you're somebody whose job requires you to have Wi-Fi, if you're a digital nomad, a content creator, or anybody who, even if you just want to use the internet, I mean, Wi-Fi is a big issue here. So keep that in mind if you're traveling here, even to make content or something. It's very, very tough. Yeah, you know, even if you get like your SIM card, you can do that and get a mobile hotspot from your phone. It's still really not that great. So I would say one of the cons that affected me the most is probably the terrible Wi-Fi service, or the lack thereof. It's just impossible. Even here at the airport, the Wi-Fi is not that great, and usually airport Wi-Fi is supposed to be like the best, you know, but even the airport Wi-Fi, I can't even open up my social medias and post things. So unfortunately, that's just the reality here in Ethiopia, and I don't think it's just here in Ethiopia. I think that's the reality in many places in Africa. But yeah, I've heard it's better in some countries, but definitely I would say that was probably the con that affected me the most here. I wasn't able to get much work done. So yeah, Wi-Fi service. Ethiopia, yeah, you guys need to work on that. Con number 3, and the last one, the last negative thing I'll say. And this one, it definitely affects you, but you can get around it. The public transportation system. Now, there is a public train and there are public minibuses, things like that. But I will say that the public transportation system is very inefficient, and it's very hard to use it to get around. So really the best way to get around is just taking a taxi. There's ride sharing apps that you could use. So as far as like, yeah, using public transportation, you can kind of, especially as a foreigner and you don't know how to get around, you pretty much count that out of your itinerary. So yeah, usually it's taxi is usually the option to use. So I would say that was probably one of the negatives, because I mean, if you're coming from countries like Asia, and countries in Asia, or even like America and stuff, or Europe especially, you'll find the public transportation system here to be very inefficient and almost non-existent. So that's definitely the last con that I have. But with that being said, I would definitely say if you have a chance to visit anywhere in Africa, I wouldn't leave Addis Ababa out of the plans, or Ethiopia out of the plans. It's a great country to visit. I've been here many times. You can watch all my past videos on Ethiopia and it'll help you learn a lot if you are planning on coming. So, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of some pros and cons to traveling here, some things that I've kind of noticed over time. But anywho, I am now on my way to a country in Asia, which I've been to before. And I'm very excited because I love this place. The people are awesome as well. This is our plane. We'll be taking off soon. Shout out to Ethiopian Airlines. Another great thing about Ethiopia is the Addis Ababa airport is so central. It's literally the hub of Africa, so you can catch flights anywhere, in and out. But anywho, on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. This has been 6 pros and cons about traveling to Ethiopia. With that being said, remember, continue to learn, continue to grow, and there is no growth until you leave your comfort zone. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.